Awake TV. So today, soon I'm gonna talk about how to receive with joy and ease. So this is an important topic, for people who are going through awakening or who've been in the awakening journey. We're talking about spiritual awakening, and then first I'm gonna share my clip, and then immediately we'll share Sue's clip. Here you go.
So I was exchanging text messaging with this guy, and he wrote tons of the sentences. But I believe in answering in concise manner, so I did answer everything he was asking. Then he got pissed off, like as if I'm not investing my time in him, which I was super busy, and I was still investing by writing the answer back. And I thought, wow, I stopped feeling feeling of deservingness, right? You have to do something a lot in order to receive something. It can go across every sector of life: work, relationship, dating, whatever, right? And I stopped doing that. I grew up in the culture that my mom always put the emphasis on I have to do a lot in order to recognize that.
Hi guys, it's Sue. My story on believing in your worth is a quick one. So some years ago, when I was in the dating world, dated a number of guys that didn't treat me well, and I finally came to the decision that I wasn't going to date anymore unless I ran into a man who treated me at least as good as I treated other people or him. And 2 short months later, I met my husband again, and we've been together ever since. So it is definitely, in my opinion, worth it and imperative to believe in your worth, and then the things that you want in your life are going to come. Thanks.
Or in order to get something I want, never given easy, sometimes not given at all. So I grew up in that belief and mindset, but I've seen and met a lot of friends who are not making huge effort but getting something so easily. If something is true, it has to apply for every single one of us. And if it doesn't, we chose to take that belief as your truth or my truth, you know. And then I realized the core motivation why I was doing that, because my mom made me feel really guilty about.
Hi guys, it's Sue. My story on believing in your worth is a quick one. So some years ago, when I was in the dating world, dated a number of guys that didn't treat me well, and I finally came to the decision that I wasn't going to date anymore unless I ran into a man who treated me at least as good as I treated other people or him. And 2 short months later, I met my husband again, and we've been together ever since. So it is definitely, in my opinion, worth it and imperative to believe in your worth, and then the things that you want in your life are going to come. Thanks.
Okay, so this week, um, not this week, but usually, unless you're super confident about receiving a lot without doing anything, or seemingly doing anything, just existing, right? It's difficult. And especially Japanese culture, people put a lot of effort on doing a lot. Like you have no right to receive unless you do stuff, especially a lot, you know. And then I grew up in that kind of environment because, my mom is narcissistic. So like I was never given anything for just me being there. Like I had to prove I'm worthy to receive anything, basically. So what do you take on this, Sue?
Well, I can only give an American perspective, but I think ours are the same in the sense that we are socially programmed, and I would suspect that your mother was too, um, to believe that the only way to get anywhere in life is if you're efforting and working hard and struggle. Everything has to be a struggle. And I don't think that that's true. I think that I think the universe is set up to, by us, by the way, from our original soul aspect that we incarnated from. I think the universe is set up to provide everything. It's just this society, over the millennia, have come to this thought process that, well, you can't have anything. You don't deserve anything unless you're efforting and working hard. And, that's been in my brain for years and years. And then it's only recently that I think that I've kind of overcome that. And I say kind of because, I don't like absolutes, right? I slip back into that pattern of thinking just like other people do, just because you know something, or you're putting something and applying something to your life, doesn't mean you have it 100% and you're never going to backslide a little. So I can't say all the time, but I
Yeah.
think I've gotten to the point where I do open myself to receiving all the good that I know. At the very least, in the beginning, I know that what I give, I deserve back. And then it's built over the years to open to receiving things that I didn't necessarily have to do something to get it. It's just because I am source energy, like you are source and everybody is source, that I deserve to have nice things come into my life too. And I deserve to have a peaceful life and a joyful life. And so, when we talk about abundance, and, obviously we're not talking about just material things. I would say more important than that is love. And I have lots of that in my life. Well, I'm a loving person. So, I don't have to do anything in particular to open up to that and receive it. But again, I backslide in my thinking. I don't backslide in my behavior, but I backslide in my thinking. And there are days where I'm like, well, I didn't really have to work that hard for this, and it just kind of came. Y- we have to practice. We have to practice accepting and being willing. But more importantly, I think it's a good thing to take time for yourself and make a list of all the things, even if it's a mental list, all the things that you know that are great about yourself, and remind yourself, if I had to pick me as a friend, would I pick me as a friend? And if your answer is yes, then you got it made in the shade. And if it isn't yes, then that gives you a blueprint for things that you want to work on to change about yourself. That's an internal thing, but that still doesn't mean you don't deserve good things in your life,
Yeah.
because I don't know any of us that's perfect.
Hmm.
I'm certainly not. And there are there are days where I don't want to be my friend. What about you?
Well, like when we look at outside, in spiritual world, we talk about your outside is the epiphany of your inside, right? So
Mhm.
when we experience our life, and then we have to work so hard, not just in career, but in the relationship or anything, right? Work so hard to receive something. or even though you worked so hard and you're getting back so little,
Mhm.
there is an indication that you can find out what kind of belief I'm holding so why I'm getting so little, like when you're giving a lot and your return is so little ROI, and then that might be a good starting point to discover yourself that what is going on. So because my mom wasn't that giving in my childhood, in everything, even though we never had a problem in money, I never had to worry about money. It's not mine, it's hers. So I
Mm.
never felt like wow abundant, because it wasn't given to me without any kind of condition, you know. And
Mhm.
then Byron Katie is saying that unless it applies to everyone, that is not true, which was really profound teaching for me. That and I started to observing friends around me, and some of friends are receiving a lot of stuff without seemingly nothing or not
Mm.
much. Obviously not the breaking their back up to receive. It's just the stuff falling onto your lap, right? And then
Mhm.
I thought about it, like in the past when I was working on myself in that aspect, that do I feel easy or comfort by receiving something huge without me seemingly doing nothing, just existing, for example. So I felt really uncomfortable. Like, okay, I have to compensate for something I received. Like, I had to work so hard.
Or give something back in kind,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
same that's
Like
worth the same.
exchange value or something. Then I was feeling that wow, that's part of the reason why I experienced my burnout, in my career. And then I was like, wow, this is not really loving, because if you have to give back quantity, like same kind of quantity in order to receive a lot, and then it has to apply for everyone, right?
Yeah,
Some people are like not seemingly allowed but working smart, or they are so enriched that, or they have a belief like, oh, I have a right to receive, not being arrogantly, but have a
that's it. They
confidence.
have a knowing that
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah, yeah.
deserve they didn't have to do something to deserve it, they know it, and if we can reach that, vibration within ourselves, we can connect to that frequency that is over time, "Yes, I can receive, and I deserve all that I receive." I sometimes I approach it with at a little bit different angle where, years ago, I just started giving little amounts whenever I was called to. And I know that's material, but or I would do favors for people. I have done work at people's homes or for charities or for volunteering, whatever it was at the time that I was able to give, but it was giving of me, so that's my love to other people. And then something kind of connected in my brain, which is when we tell the universe, even if it's a dollar, or even if it's I help somebody carry an elderly person carry their groceries to their car, whatever it is, if I'm telling the universe that I am abundant, I have this to give, then the universe keeps sending more and more because it hears that message, that belief, and it's got, okay, here's this. So, when money and favors, and people would do just nice things for me, started coming to me. At first, the brain goes, well, I don't know, what did I do to deserve this? And it was more difficult for me to receive, but, baby steps, right? And the more you say to "No, I deserve this," or "Why wouldn't I accept this, kind gift of somebody's effort, because I'm so willing to give mine," so it's like a deprogramming, I think, and you can
Yeah,
start with baby steps. I don't mind giving, money to a homeless person because, at that moment I felt I had something they didn't have and
Mhm.
I wanted them to have some too. People would really criticize me when I would give money to homeless people because, well, they're just going to go spend it on alcohol or they've obviously caused their own situation. Why are you enabling? It's like, no, that's not the point. The point is they don't have to do something to deserve my kindness. I looked at it as kindness. And so as I treated people more the way that I wanted to be treated, I started realizing it was coming back and it's built over time and it's just becoming and I'm not saying it's perfect all the time. There are days where I go into my old belief system of lack or fear of lack because I really don't lack anything. But um so again, it's important, I think, to have compassion for yourself and understand that it is a programming, whether it came from a mother who treated her daughter as if she didn't deserve, or it comes from, for me, a family that, our lineage and our history has always been service. We have always been absolutely really hardworking people to get very little, right? So that's my social programming. I did not come from a wealthy family. I came from people that worked in shoe factories when they came to America. All four of them, all four of my grandparents. My grandmother was a washerwoman, but the other three were sewing shoes, leather, tanning leather and sewing shoes, and it was long hours for not very much pay. I remember seeing one of my grandmother's paychecks was for 50 cents. And I asked her, I said, "Why didn't you cash this paycheck?" And she said, "Because it was so ridiculous that I thought it'd be more fun to save it than to cash." I mean, wow, what a statement. This is also a woman who during the Great Depression never stood in the food lines. They always had what they needed.
Oh,
And
good.
so so even though they were in service and they believed in working very hard for getting very little, they also had this faith. And theirs was, a religion, and that's fine, but it was God. Okay, let's get real about that. It was faith in God, just like I have. And they always knew that they would be provided for, so they didn't stand in food lines and things like even though they could have and they would have been entitled to like the rest, they didn't have that complete poverty thinking or worrying about being homeless. The family banded together and they helped each other, and that's how they got through the Great Depression. So, not all social programming is bad, I want to say. But I think if we take elements from this lesson and this lesson and this lesson, then we can formulate it into a better way of having abundance come into our lives. And like you said, knowing that we deserve it without having to effort for it. I think
Yeah.
that's key.
And then some people say, hey, what about all these successful people? But, I've spoken to a lot of successful people like multimillionaires, and they're into what they are doing, like into it. When you're passionate about something, of course, you end up working a lot. Like yesterday, I wasn't really planning to work because I wanted to rest. What happened to me is my colleague is like introducing someone who is seeking the service, and I was looking for my link and everything to give it to her, and then I found out, oh, some of the link is kind of dead, so I started working on website and other things, so I ended up working like 4 hours,
Hmm.
until 2 a.m. because that's what happened. Did I get tired? No, I was having fun from it. So I watched my old stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, I spoke about that and I got excited about it. So that's not like try to compensate and working hard. Like there is a different energy of working hard for the sake of working hard because you have to, or you're passionate about it. So you are doing it with joy and
Mm, good
feeling
point.
of this excitement, and then you end up spending 4 hours. That's a different feeling. You don't
Yeah,
even
that's
think
not
it's hard
efforting.
work.
Right, right. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up because it's a very important point.
Yeah.
There
So
were days where I would, when I was doing my art, I used to paint shoes, sneakers, before I went into the graphic design. Um, and I would sit and paint for hours and hours. I would forget to eat. Sometimes I'd get done and I would be, 8 hours later, like, "Oh, geez, I'm kinda hungry." How much
Yeah,
time went by? When you get that feeling of you're not even noticing time or you're not even necessarily noticing your bodily functions, that I don't consider that work. I think that's like playing. You're really enjoying it so much that you just don't even care how much time you're putting into it. That's a very different dynamic than struggle and effort for the sake of it, just to say,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm not gonna
to
deserve it if I
compensate.
don't." Mhm.
Yeah, it's a different being in the flow. So
Mhm.
outside of people, people think, oh, she or he works so hard. Maybe this person is into what she or he is doing and doesn't even hard work for her or for him. So I wanted to emphasize on that. But when it comes to when you feel hard work because you have to show you're deserving it or you show your worthiness. I'm not talking about just job situation. It's applying to relationship too, right? When you put extra effort because somehow you don't deserve you're receiving this amazing love from your partner. You feel inadequate or insecure or something, right? Then you can receive with ease and joy. You feel like it's responsible for you to give back because somehow you don't deserve to receive it.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
that's like I feel like a difference between 3D way of growth and the 5D way of growth. Like we can both grow as a soul. 3D is challenging, hardship, struggle, putting a lot of effort, a lot of hardships. The world is hard.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
And then
struggle and hard,
mhm.
yeah.
And then 5D is joy and ease. So in both dimensions, you're doing the same thing. You put 4 or 5 hours of work, but how you feel by doing it is completely different. And the vibration is different too.
Yeah, a simple way of measuring is when you need to get up in the morning to go do whatever it is you're doing, do you feel excited? Is it easy to get out of bed and you're looking forward to it? Or do you wanna sleep another 2 hours because just the thought of doing it makes you go, "Ugh." Um,
Yeah. Do you
or
remember like Sunday? Like I used to feel so sad on Sunday, like 7, 8 p.m.
oh, yeah,
because
you shared that sentiment with a whole lot of people because a lot of people weren't looking forward to Monday. Yep.
yeah, because like I didn't want to go to this work because that's not my passion and I felt like dreading, like oh my god. But when you cannot wait waking up next morning because you love what you do, it's
Mhm.
completely different feeling.
Yeah. I remember I had a session with, a friend of mine. This is before I was, like, created my business and everything. I was doing a hypnosis session with a friend of mine, and
Mhm.
it was 11 hours. The
Oh my
actual
god.
between the pre-talk and the session and the post-talk.
Did you eat?
We did take a break, and we had potty breaks in between, and we stopped in his kitchen. I brought food and we ate. Um, but we were still talking the whole time we were eating because it was just like it's like our bodies knew we had to eat something. And obviously, when you have to use the bathroom, but we just didn't stop jawing the whole time, and part of it is because we've been friends for such a long time and we hadn't seen one another in a long time, but also he was just so fascinated by the process of it all, and especially after the session, he was really, um, wanting to talk more, and it to me, you're talking about my favorite topic pretty much, let's keep going. He finally said I think it was 11:30 or something, and he says, we probably we probably oughta, let this, go for the day, and I laughed. I said, "Yeah, my husband's gonna think I got lost." Uh,
I was about to mention like how is your husband feeling about this? You are gone for 11 hours.
Well, he knows this guy anyway.
Okay.
We were all coaching in baseball together for years, so it wasn't
Uh-huh.
like we didn't know this fella. And but he did. By the time I called him, because I always put my phone on silence when I have a session, and I don't want that kind of interruption. So when I finally did call him, he was like, "Geez, I was going to send out a search party for you." But I think that's what you're talking about. That's what we're talking about is when you love something. I don't consider it work. I
Yeah,
consider it, I'm just doing I'm following my joy.
like what we do right now, that's I don't consider it a work. Technically it is, but feeling wise not. We're just
Right.
having an amazing conversation together and happen to airing it with you guys. That's how I feel.
Yep.
I basically enjoy talking to Sue about spiritual topics, you know.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So when we are feeling this, we have to compensate, right? In something. Could be in money because we don't deserve to get this much amount of money for the service we provide, or you. I'm not talking about just you know, no personal thing, but we just use that we happen to be here.
Right, right,
Or
right.
we happen to feel like, okay, we have to give so much love because this guy is like gave me this Louis Vuitton bag and I had to compensate for something, whatever, right? So
Or you
when
have to be his personal slave, right, in
yeah, so
return.
when we have that feeling something, that's one unhealthy. And two, you feel like you're not deserving unless you give back something. But when we think about love, we give our love or our caring or our kindness because we want to. We are not really looking to receive it back, you know?
Mhm.
And then all of us are very good people. Majority of you guys who are listening to this podcast. So we are not most likely narcissist or anything or psychopath. So we are not taking advantage of, okay, this person gave me this much and from now I don't have to give back anything ever in my life. Even saying thank you. We are not that kind of people, right? So
Yeah, but like I said earlier, it's the reason we're gonna be receiving is because we're putting it out into the universe. It's just you gotta jump over that hump of believing and opening up to the receiving instead of
yeah.
saying, "Oh, now that I've got this, I've gotta do this and this and this for that person." No, be a good receiver, you know,
Hmm.
because the cycle of energy doesn't get blocked. When you give and give and give and give and give, and then it's coming back around and you're saying, "Oh, I don't deserve this," you're stopping the energy flow, right? So keep that circle of energy going by being a good receiver. And then, if you say, I accept it, then it keeps flowing. And then you give it again and then you receive it again. And that's how we go into flow with that, with abundance,
Yeah, and
love,
then
material stuff, whatever it is.
happy relationship, happy couple, they give each other naturally without even consciously thinking about it because you love each other and you want to make your person happy, right? You're not
Yeah, there's
thinking,
no
oh my
keeping
God, he
score.
gave it to me, I had to give back like same amount of love to him.
Yeah, and there's no keeping score either. Like, oh, I did this for you that week, so now you have to do this for me this week. No, not a
That's
not a
like
healthy
for
relationship.
no, that's a business transaction like arrangement, not even love union.
Pretty much, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Right? So like yeah, the two this is we are like jumping all over because we are being so spiritual right now. But
I'm just having fun.
yeah, getting this spiritual receiving consciousness is kind of getting in touch with our feminine energy. Like our feminine energy is being receptive, like reciprocate too, but willing to receive what we are given, right? When we are not open to and willing to receive, like Sue is saying, universe gonna say, okay, you're happy with 10%,
Yeah.
whatever 10% is. So that's what you're gonna receive from the universe, because you are saying, oh my God, don't give me 100%. I cannot handle it.
Or I don't deserve it. Yeah.
Or you don't deserve it, right? And then you want to ask yourself, do you really want that? Do you really want the 3D kind of way of living, and they keep on having this kind of living, instead of friend next to you is having 5D living or receiving so easily, and then opportunity or luck or whatever the stuff is falling onto this person, and then you feel like, how come this is not happening to me? This is how come.
Yeah. And like I said in my video, you can use what's currently in your fields to determine what you're putting out there. So when I talked about dating a bunch of guys that didn't treat me well, I say a bunch, like three. Um, but still, that's a bunch for me. Anyway, um, and I was sitting there going, "What the hell is going on? Why does this situation keep repeating itself?" Well, that was the universe letting me know that I wasn't believing that I was worthy. Thankfully, I was in counseling. Hopefully, you guys don't have to go to counseling, but I was in counseling, and my mentor said, "Well, what do you think you deserve?" My answer was, "Well, at least as much as I'm willing to give, I want to receive back." And then I made the decision, privately that I'm not going to date anybody ever again. I'll be a single mother. That's okay if that's how it turns out, because I will not accept less than what I'm willing to give. So that was really helpful. This is why I like to pass these things on to other people, because what helped me is probably, like you said earlier, what is true for one will be true for others, and what is not true for one won't be true for others either. I mean, it could be, but only if your mind is uh, stuck in a belief system, right? I won't go there. That's confusing the issue. But um, anyway, I want to share that because, the love of my life came in for me a couple months after I made that decision. I think the universe wanted to make sure I was sure. One particular fella, that was especially not very generous in many ways, was trying to come back, and I was like, nope, 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 nope. And because I didn't think there was any chance he was going to change, but I changed me. See, it starts with you.
Yeah,
Starts with me. It starts with Erica. So what do you believe you deserve? Are you worthy of? And then start paying attention to what comes into your fields.
yeah, and then
You'll notice the
especially,
shift.
mhm, especially it is very important to proclaim to universe like Sue did. Set the intention. You are not accepting this and that because you're this and that. You are no longer accepting this kind of situation because you deserve more than what you're getting. You have to set this strong feeling to the universe, so universe understand it. Not with anger or anything, with proclaiming yourself when you are not angry or vengeful or anything, your normal feeling, but you state that to the universe, and then you set that energy to the universe. That works. I
Yeah.
did that before too. you know. So anything last word before we go? Last tips for our viewers, audience.
I would say um, your soul, your higher self, your highest self, apart from source, which you are also, is always wanting the best for you. And there are signs along the way and things of that nature. If you can read the universe, read the energy, read the messages, or be open to receiving them, you will be able to navigate, figure out what's been holding you back from the abundance you're seeking, or the love, which is abundance, the love that you're seeking, or the material, whatever it is you're trying for. Um, and once you become open to the receiving, you don't have to effort it. It should feel just like breathing, really. Um, And if you do slide back into old ways, the old social programming, you can recover quicker every time you practice it. So just practice resetting your brain and your thinking to one of I deserve. I deserve. Because you do.
Okay, my tip is to remember your love. So, because you exist and you are, no one else is like you are special, right? So, you deserve to receive everything universe is given and then choose the gift, the positive gift you're getting from the universe. And don't tell universe, oh, I don't deserve, I just need more hardship. Because you do deserve joy and ease because you are shifting to 5D. So more you increase your self-love, you feel easier for yourself to receive everything at ease. And trust that, And then when you, like Sue said, felt like today you don't feel like deserving, it's fine. You can accept that part of yourself. Tomorrow, you're going to start believing in you again. And if you need help, me and Sue is out there to help you to start believing in yourself as well. So thank you so much for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, and we see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.